Can you handle the screams and the deepfakes in Screen 7? Or are we all about to get catfished by Ghostface? Alright, let's get into it. You're listening to Emma Spills the Tea, and I am excited, curious, maybe a little terrified, but in a cute way. So, picture this. Scream 7 is the 2026 slasher entry, keeping the franchise alive and stabbing. It brings back Neve Campbell, who, if you somehow forgot, is Sidney Prescott, the original final girl. And it lets Kevin Williamson, the guy who created the voice and vibe of Scream back in the 90s, slide into the director's chair. It promises old-school tension with new-school toys, deep-fake tech that makes you question every face on screen. And controversy? Honey, there's baggage. Cash shakeups, lawsuits, protests at the premiere. Big yikes, but tell me why that drama kinda juiced the buzz. Quick life detour before we stab into details. Years ago, I went to this horror-themed fashion night. Think Met Gala meets haunted house. I wore a gown with a train, so dramatic it needed its own publicist. The fog machine goes rogue, alarms blare, and I barrel into a guy in a flannel jacket, who turns out to be David Arquette. Yes, Dewey Riley himself from the Scream series. He looks at me, totally calm, and goes, "It's fine, in a Scream movie, this is the meet-cute." Then he helps untangle my train from a fake guillotine. Iconic. The lesson I took and Scream 7 lives by this is simple. Expect chaos, own the twist, and smile for the camera anyway. Okay, let's move on. Scream 7 in basics. It's a slasher about identity and legacy. Think of deepfakes like wearing the ultimate party mask. The mask copies your face, your voice, your receipts. In the film, a new Ghostface locks onto Sidney's teenage daughter, Tatum. We're split between Woodsboro, the original blood-soaked hometown, and Pine Grove, Indiana, where Sidney is trying to live a normal life running a coffee house. Emphasis on trying.
Gassed check for the uninitiated. Neve Campbell, the series MVP, is back as Sidney. Courtney Cox, your favorite ruthless TV reporter Gail Weathers, returns. David Arquette, our beloved Dewey, appears in a legacy capacity. Matthew Lillard, who played Stu Macker in the original, also shows up, and yes, we'll get to the Stu rumors. Roger L. Jackson, the voice of Ghostface, that velvety murder whisper in your ear, returns to rattle your spine. Joe McHale, the comedian from Community, plays Sidney's husband, Mark Evans. New faces include Isabel May as Tatum. The result is a cast that blends nostalgia with fresh energy, total vibe. Now the setup. The film opens at Stu Macher's house because, of course, a stabbed superfan and his girlfriend get picked off, and the place goes up in flames. Later, an aged and scarred Stu appears on a video call to Sidney, except plot twist, deepfake shenanigans. Ghostface starts staging attacks around the theater rehearsal, even snatching lives there. Two classmates, Hannah and Aaron, do not make it out. The stakes snap into focus when Ghostface invades Sidney's home in Pine Grove and goes after Mark. It is relentless. Meta rules nerds, rise up. Jasmine Savoy Brown, who plays Mindy Meeks Martin, is back with the survival playbook. She pushes the classic Scream rule. The killer always has a personal connection. Get everyone together, smoke out the traitors. Then the third act unmaskings hit. First Carl Gibbs, a murderer who escaped a nearby mental institution. Then Jessica, Sidney's seemingly normal neighbor. Their motives braid together with tech manipulation courtesy of an institution supervisor named Marco, who has IT wizardry and a god complex. The deepfake idea of Stu becomes the boogeyman. The film keeps saying, do not believe the face, believe the actions. Without ruining every beat, Sidney and Tatum fight back hard. There is a coffeehouse gun safe, a car used the way action movies use cars, and a final showdown where mother and daughter prove they are not cosplay final girls, they are the blueprint. If you want clean closure, you mostly get it, but the film leaves you thinking about how easily we fall for a screen-made lie. Big mood for 2026. Let's jump to the people behind the chaos.
Kevin Williamson, the original screenwriter, directs and co-writes with Guy Busick, a genre writer who helped steer recent entries, from a story by Busick and James Vanderbilt, a producer-writer known for big studio thrillers. Williamson's return is the franchise slay. The tone feels classic Scream, snappy, self-aware, mean when it needs to be, and Neve Campbell stepping back in as Sidney after stepping away from an earlier sequel over pay is a power move. Reports say she earned around $7 million here. Courtney Cox reportedly around $2 million. That is legacy value in action. The studio clearly wanted your nostalgia, and your nostalgia said, pay her. On the sound, Marco Beltrami, the composer who scored the first 4 Scream films, returns. He threads new cues like What's in a Name and school drama with the classic Sidney's Lament. There is even a fresh swirl called Mrs. Evans' Lament that ties into Sidney's family. For Needle Drops, we get Ice Nine Kills, that's the horror-obsessed metalcore band, but Twisting the Knife featuring McKenna Grace, the actress-singer from Ghostbusters and The Handmaid's Tale. Plus tracks from Suko, Jesse Murph, Stella Lefty, and Don Tolliver. It is moody, aggressive, and low-key perfect for a franchise that loves blood with a side of bops. Okay, pause, because this next part is everything, the Offspring drama. Melissa Barrera, who led the 2022 and 2023 installments, was fired in late 2023 over social posts about Gaza that the studio called anti-Semitic. Barrera denied anti-Semitism. That triggered a chain reaction. Director Christopher Landon, who had stepped in when the last duo left, exited and later said the film he signed up for no longer existed. Fandom went nuclear. Landon reported harassment serious enough for the FBI to look into threats. Then the movie pivoted back to legacy. Nave returns, Williamson directs. It is a creative sap back to familiar faces after chaos. The ripple effect kept going. Activist groups like BDS, that's the Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions Movement, Film Workers for Palestine, a labor coalition, and Code Pink, a longtime anti-war group, amplified boycott calls. By premiere week in Los Angeles, pro-Palestinian groups, including Jewish Voice for Peace LA and Entertainment Labor for Palestine, staged protests outside. Some outlets said a couple dozen, others said dozens. Either way, the red carpet had picket signs. And yet, plot twist, the movie sets a franchise record for Thursday previews, roughly 7.8 million, and the weekend estimate shot up dramatically. Sometimes controversy does not tank a film, it markets it. Box office tea. Budget reportedly around $45 million before marketing. Audience response was mixed but not fatal. CinemaScore sits at a B-, tied with Scream 4 for the franchise low. Post-Track says 61% would definitely recommend. Translation? Your horror friends are arguing, but they are still buying tickets. Also, Scream 7 is the first in the series to hit IMAX. Premium format equals premium cash. Smart flex. Oh, and there's a courtroom subplot off-screen. Paramount in Spyglass sued Alterian Ghost Factory, an effects company tied to the Ghostface mask history, over mask rights. When a mask is basically an IP goldmine, the lawyers show up like it's Black Friday. Here's my take on the Melissa Barrera situation. And yes, it is messy. I get the studio's fear PR firestorms. I also think we should separate art from personal speech when possible. But when a star and a studio clash over values in the most online era ever, the movie becomes a proxy war. It affects jobs, rewrites, and entire creative visions. That is not hypothetical here. It happened. And fans weaponizing harassment is a no-go. You can love a film and still not terrorize the humans making it. Basic human decency, not controversial, or at least it should not be.
Let's dissect this thematically for a sec. The deepfake threat is the most relevant thing Scream has done in ages. In the movie, the comeback of Stu as a ghost from the 90s ends up being a digital puppet, a weaponized nostalgia trip. Come on. I said, that is the point. In 2026, we are all one convincing clip away from believing a lie about anyone, your fave, your ex, a politician, a neighbor. Scream 7 turns the series' obsession with masks into a 4K mirror. Honestly, iconic. And yet, I wish the film took a few more big swings beyond callbacks. The kills snap, the set pieces work, Williamson's voice is back, but at times it leans a little mid on real innovation. Still, seeing Nev command the screen again is a total glow-up for the franchise's soul. If Scream 8 happens, which, by the way, Williamson and Campbell say they are brainstorming, I want them to double down on new ideas with the same old backbone. Give me the future, not just the reunion tour. Okay, what's next? Next episode, I am teasing a comeback from another horror classic that refuses to die. Think Masks Off, Monsters Out, Legacy on Blast. You are not ready. So, that's the tea, folks. Survive your group chats like Sydney survives a third act. Drink water. And if a distorted voice asks what your favorite scary movie is, hang up and call your therapist. I'm Emma. We'll pick this up next time. Later.